Before starting the video, I want to thank you, Sony, for becoming a member of the channel. Your support means a lot, and we're excited to have you with us. Let's get started. Have you ever felt like the doors of life seem to close in front of you, one after the other? You try to move forward, you make an effort, you follow all the advice, and yet the opportunities that others seem to find with ease remain invisible to you. You are not alone. This experience is more common than you imagine, and today you will discover why it happens, and more importantly, how to transform it forever. What I am going to share with you is not another positive thinking technique or superficial visualization. It is a profound practice that connects the most advanced discoveries about the functioning of our mind with ancient wisdoms about our perceptive capacity. A practice that simultaneously activates two internal systems that determine everything you experience in your life. Jacobo Grinberg, brilliant scientist who dedicated his life to investigating the intersection between neuroscience and expanded states of consciousness, discovered something fascinating. Our reality is not objective, but an interpretation created by our mental filters. His studies showed that we can access dimensions of information that normally remain hidden from our ordinary perception. Imagine that you have lived your entire life with a pair of glasses that filter out certain colors. Everything you see seems normal to you, the only possible reality. Now imagine that someone shows you how to take those off. Suddenly, a whole new world of colors, shades, and possibilities appears before you. Opportunities, connections, and paths that were always there, but you were unable to perceive, are now revealed with crystal clarity. This is the power of the practice that I am going to teach you. The ability to see what has always been right in front of you, but that your mental filters prevented you from perceiving. It is not a matter of luck, privilege, or innate talent. It is a skill that you can develop and perfect. A door to a way of living where the universe seems to conspire in your favor. The truth that changes everything begins with this understanding. What we call reality is not an objective, immutable phenomenon. It is an interpretation created by our minds from a limited number of stimuli that our brains decide to process. We are literally creating our experience moment by moment by filtering millions of bits of information and selecting only those that resonate with our beliefs, expectations, and mental programming. Think about this. At this very moment, there are radio waves, television signals, electromagnetic fields, and countless other invisible stimuli passing through the space where you are. However, without a suitable receiver, they remain completely imperceptible to you. In the same way, there are opportunities, solutions, and paths that are constantly broadcasting into your life, but if your perceptual system isn't tuned to pick them up, it's as if they don't exist in your reality. This is why two people can experience the same event and extract radically different experiences. One sees problems where another finds opportunities. One perceives insurmountable obstacles, while another discovers valuable lessons and alternative paths. The difference is not in the external world, but in the internal filters that determine which aspects of the experience become real for each individual. The most profound consequence of this understanding is that we cannot transform our external lives without first transforming our internal reality. Many people spend years trying to change their circumstances while keeping intact the mental filters that created those same circumstances. They change jobs, but carry with them the same beliefs about worth and difficulties. They seek new relationships, but maintain the same thought patterns about love and their own worth. They move to a new location, but carry with them the same way of perceiving opportunities and obstacles. It's like trying to tune into a different channel on television while holding down the same button on the remote control. No matter how much effort you put into pressing that button, you will keep seeing the same program. Real change requires fine-tuning the internal tuner, changing the filters through which you interpret and construct your experience of the world. And this is where the transformative power of the practice I'm going to share with you lies. Learning to consciously and deliberately adjust your perceptual filters to tune into frequencies of experience that have always been available, but until now have remained invisible to you. It's not about creating something new, but about expanding your capacity to perceive what already exists and has always existed in the field of infinite possibilities that surrounds you. This mental filter we're talking about is not a poetic metaphor or an abstract concept. It's a real neurological structure in your brain known as the Reticular Activating System, or SAR for short. Imagine the SAR as the gatekeeper of your mind. A sophisticated gatekeeper who decides what information deserves your conscious attention and what information will be filtered out before you even notice its existence. At any given moment, your senses take in approximately 11 million bits of information, but your conscious mind can only process about 40 bits per second. The discrepancy is overwhelming. What happens to the remaining millions? The SAR is the one who decides based on your beliefs, values, past experiences, and what you consider important or relevant to your survival and well-being. You've experienced SAR in action many times without realizing it. Do you remember when you bought a new shirt and suddenly started seeing lots of people wearing the same clothes? Or when you learned a new word and it started popping up in every book you read and every conversation you heard? Those shirts and words were always there, but your SAR considered them irrelevant until they became meaningful to you. The same thing happens with opportunities, resources, and solutions. When your SAR is programmed to detect scarcity, conflict, or limitation, it will systematically ignore the signs of abundance, harmony, and possibility that constantly surround you. It's like having a powerful internal search engine set to the wrong keywords. Even if the information you need exists, it will never appear in your results. A person whose SAR is programmed to detect opportunities will notice business possibilities in casual conversation. Someone whose SAR is tuned into human connection will find deep friendships in places where others only see strangers. A mind trained to perceive beauty will discover inspiration in scenes that are overlooked by others. The difference is not in the world, but in what the SAR allows into your field of awareness. The extraordinary news is that this system is not static. Despite having been formed through years of experiences, inherited beliefs, and unconscious patterns, the RAS can be deliberately reprogrammed. You can train this inner gatekeeper to seek out precisely what you wish to experience: abundance instead of scarcity, solutions instead of problems, meaningful connections instead of loneliness. This reprogramming does not happen through superficial willpower or empty affirmations. It requires a conscious process that involves both the rational mind and the deeper intuitive centers. This is where most methods fail. They attempt to change the programming of the RAS without accessing the deeper levels of perception where the reality filtering actually happens. To truly transform what you perceive, you need to activate and synchronize another, equally powerful system that amplifies and expands the capabilities of your mind. While the Reticular Activating System operates primarily in the realm of physical, conscious perception, there exists another center within our being that accesses more subtle dimensions of information and consciousness. This center has been recognized in spiritual and philosophical traditions for millennia. The third eye, located in the space between the eyebrows, is associated with intuition, clairvoyance, and inner wisdom. On a biological level, this area corresponds to the pineal gland, a small endocrine structure in the center of the brain that the ancients called the seat of the soul. Modern science has discovered that this gland regulates our circadian rhythms, produces melatonin, and contains light-sensitive cells similar to those in our retina. It is, in effect, an inner eye capable of perception. This gland functions as an interface between our physical brain and what Grinberg termed the third eye, a unified field of information that contains all possibilities. When we fully activate this interface, we can access information that transcends ordinary space-time limitations. A blocked third eye manifests as a persistent feeling of disconnection, as if viewing life through fogged-up glass. Decisions become muddled, intuition seems muted, and synchronicities, those moments of meaningful coincidence that suggest a greater order, are few or far between. Life is experienced as a series of random events with no coherent purpose or direction. In contrast, when the third eye is active and open, perception expands beyond the ordinary. You begin to notice patterns, subtleties, and connections that were previously invisible. Intuition becomes a trustworthy guide, offering insights and solutions that the rational mind alone could not reach. Synchronicities increase, creating the impression that the universe is responding to your deepest intentions and needs. This expanded perception is not supernatural, but supranormal, a natural extension of our perceptual abilities when we remove the blocks that limit their full expression. It's like going from a black and white television to a full-color, high-definition screen. The signal always had all the information, but your receiver could not fully decode it. Most people in modern society have a partially or completely calcified third eye due to factors such as chronic stress, disconnection from natural rhythms, certain elements in the modern diet, and fundamentally the prevailing belief that this form of perception does not exist or is invalid. Cultural skepticism has created a collective blockage of this natural faculty. However, just as an atrophied muscle can regain its strength with proper exercise, the third eye can be reactivated through specific practices, and when it synchronizes with the reticular activating system, an extraordinary synergy occurs that radically alter our ability to perceive and manifest opportunities in our everyday reality. When the reticular activating system and the third eye operate in isolation, each operates within its own limitations. The RAS filters efficiently, but remains tied to already established patterns of perception. The third eye accesses broader dimensions of information, but may lack the structure necessary to integrate those perceptions into everyday reality. It's like having a powerful telescope and a sophisticated navigation system that never communicate with each other. The real magic happens when these two systems begin to synchronize and work in harmony. This synchronization creates a feedback loop where the expanded intuition of the third eye informs and reconfigures the filters of the RAS. While the RAS provides the structured framework that allows intuitive perceptions to manifest into tangible experiences. Imagine the third eye as an explorer who can travel beyond known horizons, discovering new territories of possibility. The RAS is like the cartographer who turns those discoveries into accurate maps that you can follow on your daily journey. Without the explorer, the cartographer can only draw paths already taken. Without the cartographer, the discoveries of the explorer remain visions, ephemeral without practical application. This synchronization does not happen automatically. It requires a conscious intention and specific practices that align these two aspects of your consciousness. The intention acts as the initial bridge that connects both systems, establishing the purpose and direction for their collaboration. Without a clear intention, the synchronization can be erratic or ineffective, like a compass without a defined destination. The fascinating thing is that this synchronization perfectly integrates the physical and energetic aspects of our nature. We are not choosing between science and spirituality, between the tangible and the intangible. We are accessing a more complete understanding of how our consciousness works on multiple levels. Simultaneously, consciousness researchers suggest that this synchronization reflects the original design of our perceptual system before cultural fragmentation and limiting beliefs created an artificial division between these complementary aspects of our perception. We are not developing something new, but rather recovering a natural function that we have forgotten how to fully utilize. When the SAR and the third eye are synchronized, we begin to experience what many call the flow state, a state where meaningful coincidences increase, where opportunities appear at precisely the right time, and where life seems to unfold with a coherence and purpose that transcends chance. The doors that previously remained invisible are now revealed to you, not because they have suddenly appeared, but because you have finally activated the perceptual system capable of seeing them. Now that you understand this, I am going to reveal to you the 5-step method that activates this synchronization and begins to transform your perception of reality. This method does not require years of practice or advanced knowledge, but it does demand consistency and genuine intention. The first step is to define your intention with absolute precision. Vagueness is the enemy of effective manifestation. When you say, "I want to be happy" or "I desire more abundance," you are sending out diffuse signals that your user cannot process effectively. Instead, formulate your intention in the present tense with specific details that activate your senses and emotions. The specificity acts as precise coordinates that your perceptual system can use to tune into the corresponding frequencies in the field of possibilities. Remember that you are not asking the universe, but instructing your own perceptual system on which signals to prioritize in the ocean of information that surrounds you. The second step involves conscious breathing to clear the energetic blocks that hinder this synchronization. Start by breathing deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. As you inhale, visualize a golden light entering your body, purifying every cell and clearing the energy channels. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that have been filtering your perception up until now. Continue for at least 7 complete breathing cycles. This process is not merely symbolic. Studies have shown that conscious breathing significantly alters our brainwaves, creating an ideal receptive state for reprogramming subconscious filters. The third step directly activates the third eye through a specific visualization. Direct your attention to the point between your eyebrows, the traditional third eye center. Visualize a sphere of violet light that begins as a small dot and gradually expands with each breath. Feel a gentle pressure or warmth in this area as you keep your attention focused there. Now, from this activated center, visualize your intention as if it were already manifesting. Experience the sensations, emotions, and perceptions associated with this reality. Don't just see pictures, engage all of your senses. This multi-sensory visualization sends powerful signals to the mind about which reality it should begin filtering and prioritizing in your life. Perceptual field. The fourth step involves programming the SAR through precise affirmations spoken with emotional conviction. Affirmations are not just words, they are direct commands to your neurological system. Speak out loud phrases like, "My mind is tuned to infinite opportunities." "I easily recognize the signs that guide me toward my highest good." Synchronicities occur naturally in my daily life. The crucial thing is not the mechanical repetition, but the emotional resonance you generate while saying them. You must feel the truth of these affirmations in your body. This coherence between word, emotion, and belief is what effectively reprograms the SAR filters to align with your new perceptual frequency. The fifth and final step is to take inspired action from this state of expanded perception. This synchronization not only shows you new doors, but also reveals the optimal time to walk through them. Ask yourself, What is the most aligned action I can take today to move toward my intention? The answer will come as a clear intuition, not a forced obligation. The difference between inspired action and effort-based action is fundamental. The first flows naturally and encounters minimal resistance. The second consumes energy and generates friction. By acting from this space of alignment, you create a circuit, complete where external action reinforces the new internal programming, accelerating the transformation process. To integrate this practice into your daily life and obtain transformative results, consistency is essential. Dedicate 15 minutes each morning, ideally before the noise of the day saturates your mental field, to perform the 5 steps of the method. This morning moment establishes the vibrational frequency that will influence your entire day. Complement this main practice with micro pauses of consciousness throughout the day. Simply stop for 30 seconds, breathe deeply, touch the point between your eyebrows, and reconnect with your intention. The key is to maintain the practice without rigid expectations about specific time frames. Remember that you are not creating something new, but removing obstacles to perceive what has always been available. The universe does not suddenly open. It is your perception that expands to recognize the doors that have always been open. This practice represents a bridge between modern neuroscience and ancient wisdom, between the tangible and the intangible, between what you are now and what you can become. On behalf of the whole team, thank you and goodbye.